when I was younger, I was like very sensitive. I cry easily, you know what I'm saying? And so that was perceived as a weakness, because it's like, you know, you just gonna cry at the drop of a pen, you know what I'm saying? And then but it also, as a middle child, it prevented me from getting yelled and beat the most, because you knew that all you had to do was say something to me and I was gonna cry. You know what I'm saying? And so but that could be taken as a weakness. But I think, and it's a blessing, you know, in retrospect, I think because I am an artist as far as music, right?
And being able to,
right, but more specifically, you know,
at the time.
Music at the time. Well, and then at that time, didn't even transcend into music. It was poetry, right? So when I had got into writing, very young age, because I was a little geek when I was young, used to read all these books, and I think, you know, that kind of sparked me to write. So I used to write poetry, and this was probably like, you know, 10, 11, 12, around that age. And I would I noticed that when I would write poetry, I would be pulling out these emotions that I felt. And every time that I would write something and I would cry, and when I would write it, I would be like, oh, this is going to be good, right? Because I knew that when other people read it, and at that time I wasn't even sharing my work, but I knew that I had did something great there. And eventually when I started to share, right, and I started to write rhymes to, you know, because I wanted to rap, and I would put that feeling, that emotion that I felt, that I wasn't really good at speaking about, and still to this day, that's still something that I'm working on, being able to talk about it or speak about it, express my feeling not in a song. It's easier for me to express it in the song. So I knew that when people listened to it, they automatically felt it, right? Because I noticed that everyone that felt it is because they resonated with it, you know? And I feel like that's why music is universal. That's why music is so healing, because you can, the artist puts so much emotion into it. And some of the best songs, heart into it. Some of the best songs are when that artist really just is so transparent. And you like, damn, I be feeling like that too.
Listen.
You know? And that be your favorite song.
Yeah.
It puts you in a certain space.
Yeah.
And because it's so transparent and it's like so relatable.
Sure.
So I knew that was a thing. I knew that was a good thing. And that was how I was able to take something that could be perceived as a weakness and then use it as a superpower. You know what I'm saying?
Couldn't be more deserving. You got me cloud surfing, cloud surfing, cloud surfing. You got me.
Happy Good Sunday! Welcome. Let me get that, 808.
Just gotta drive it into the ground. You can't just let it be. What are we talking about today?
No, that's what I always say.
Well, I'm flipping the script. What are we talking about today?
Oh, jeez.
Change up, you know what I'm saying? Change up a little bit.
Today, you know, because baby and I were having a conversation earlier about our perceived limitations or perceived weaknesses. What's up, K Ziggy?
Hey, what's going on?
In the house. Let me stop being extra corny. All right, so we talking about perceived limitations or your perceived weaknesses. Are they really a weakness? Or is it a superpower?
Is it a superpower?
And it's all really about your perception.
All about your perception.
And in relation to your mate,
Same.
you know, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Do you perceive their so-called limitations or weaknesses?
Areas of needed improvement, all the terms. Yes.
How do you perceive them? And if you shifted your perception of them, what beauty could come from that?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good intro.
Well, thank you for putting me on the spot.
My lady. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Call me my lady, man.
My lady, man.
It's like, no. My lady, sir.
Yes.
Mr. Lady.
Oh my gosh. See what I told y'all? You just gotta keep it going. Yeah, great topic, because a lot of the time what causes conflict in relationships is the way we have learned to perceive other people's flaws, quote unquote flaws, right? And we'll attribute that to, the brain's negativity bias or self-sabotage, which the two are, connected, confirmation bias, right? And so, for example, if we're operating, or a program that's operating in our minds is, I'm not worthy of love, then being in a loving relationship contradicts that core belief. And as a result of that contradiction, we will search out or seek out information to confirm that core belief in the form of being zeroed in, honing in on our partner's perceived weaknesses, right? And so, and in the focusing on that, then we confirm, right, not only the core belief that I'm not worthy to be loved, but then we confirm what we perceive as a weakness in our partner.
Because, and it goes right back to Rumi, that what you seek is seeking you. And that confirmation bias, man.
It's serious.
It's pretty serious, because basically, like Baby said, you're going to, whatever your perception is of that thing, and you're looking for it, you will find it.
You're gonna find it. You're gonna find it.
But the whole time you're like creating it.
You're seeking it, and that's how our perceptions.
She said, "Can you repeat that?" Which part?
Which part? That's how our perceptions create our reality, right? Because if what you're looking for is what you then create, then that is your reality.
That's how powerful you are.
Yeah.
And we be thinking like when we see something that confirms, and like, oh, this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
I knew it. The whole time it confirmed, because that's what you was looking for.
You proved yourself right.
Because if you switched your perspective and were looking for something different, you would then find that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's so interesting. It's a subtle little sneaky attribute of the ego, this desire to confirm its perception, its worldview, its view of that lower self, others, and the world. And so in that desire to be gratified by having your worldview or perception confirmed, you again end up seeking that which you believe to be true.
Yeah, and attracting that.
And attracting that as a result. You're drawn to it in essence because of the desire to have that belief gratified by your experiences. It's trippy.
Yeah, the ego's desire to be right.
To be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
To be right. Right?
And that's why it's so important to be present. Woo!
Yeah.
And I think I'm learning more and more about that. The art of presence. Oh, I like that.
Because it is an art.
The art of presence. But you see the play on the presence?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. The art of
Geeks up. But yeah, the art of being present. Because that keeps you out of your head from like projecting future, you know what I'm saying, ideals or whatever that thing is. When you're present, it's like you just really have to focus on what's happening right now. And a lot of times when you are in that fear state, when you focus on what's happening right now and being present, you realize you're not under attack right now.
No.
you're not
safe.
dying.
You're safe.
You know, you're actually safe. That thing that you're thinking about in your mind is not happening right now.
It may never happen.
It may never happen. Yeah.
And even if it did happen, you would handle it better than you think you would.
Absolutely. Haven't you always?
Haven't you always?
Haven't you always made it out?
Yeah.
Alive.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. And yeah, just that whole
Fear.
just the fear. That's what it all is. It's just fear. Because when you are when you perceive things as a limitation or a weakness, it's really the thing that makes it bad is the fear of whatever you think that thing is.
Yeah.
No matter what. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
How like you know, like are some of our perceived limitations. Just for example, like with physical characteristics, right? Being short, right? You might not like that you're short, but you were created that height for whatever reason. And when you start to now when you're looking for something to confirm that that's not right, that this thing about you is not right. Like, I don't like being short. Everybody around me is taller than me. Everybody's better because they're bigger, right? You're just going to confirm that, and you're going to attract people that will point out these things about you. You know what I'm saying? It's like people start to make fun of you more because you are short, right?
Instead
and
of
then
owning it and say, "Hey, cuz." Claudia.
What it is? What it is?
Like passe, Shelly.
My Shelly.
You gotta say like
Shelly. You gotta put that tongue out there. We're dorks. We do this all day and laugh at each other. Nobody else thinks it's funny but us.
That's all right. That's all right. I'd
But-
laugh with
but
you
yes.
any day. No, you were saying.
No, well, yeah, do the other aspect of the short thing.
The other aspect of the
Because
short
you were starting to say, if you own it.
Oh yeah. If you own and first of all, like short, tall, I mean, can we just talk about how these are all words that we've come up with to define things, and as a result of those definitions, now we have positions and biases about said thing. It's all conditioning, it's all, it's all training, it's all programming, right? So let's put that aside, right? Let's acknowledge that. But in the ownership of what we consider a perceived limitation, I was sharing, with Baby earlier today, my perceived limitation growing up was that I was a very sensitive child. Like, and Baby was sharing this about herself as well. I was a very sensitive child. And I remember just even like as a young girl riding home, we lived in not the best of neighborhoods, right? And seeing homeless people on drugs, like on the street, even around my building. Sometimes we had homeless people sleeping upstairs on the rooftop or, in the attic space or what have you. And just wondering, like, what happened? Like, what happened to that person? How did they get here? And my heart going out to those individuals instantaneously. Like, there was no block to that energy flowing. And I was very sensitive. And I remember being teased for being so sensitive, right? Like, why are you crying? Why are you crying so much? Why do you care? Why do you have to be nice to everybody? Like those kinds of things, right? And it was perceived, as a weakness by others. And then I believed that it was a weakness. And then so that what I ended up doing as a result, not even consciously being aware of it, I started to suppress the flow of that energy, which now I know was just love, the life force energy of love. And as a result of me suppressing that flow of energy, that love, I wasn't being my full authentic self. And what that led to is me dealing with severe anxiety and depression, right? And so and I realize now in my work as a,
Go ahead,
I realize now, now in my work as a therapist, as a healer, as an empowerment coach for women who oftentimes are dealing with the same thing, the suppression and the repression of that natural flow of life force energy, chi, that energy, I've realized that I now have turned that perceived weakness into a strength. That my ability to perceive people's emotions, my ability to feel people's energy, and my ability to love people through that hurt, through that pain, it's a superpower. It's healing, it's rejuvenate, it is love, it is divine, right? Where at one time though, it was perceived as a weakness, right? So, and in the owning of this perceived weakness, you recognize that it actually is a strength. And you also can recognize the opportunity to grow and develop, right? So that you can learn how to take care of that perceived weakness so that it can become a strength.
That's deep. And what's KZ be talking about? Well, we got to get back to.
Oh, that's Claudia. She has to get back to that bud. So back.
Oh, so
gotta get back to selling that bud. Okay, all right. Get back to work. Get back to work, cause
at the cannabis shop.
Absolutely.
But I was gonna say, when you were talking about your experience of depression, it made me think of I just saw a clip from Jim Carrey, and Jim Carrey then went off into this whole spiritual realm. He's very he be on it. Listen to his speeches and stuff. But he was saying how one of his teachers taught him that when people are depression is basically when your body, he said, your body is saying, fuck you. Right? I don't want to pretend to be this character that you've created anymore.
Wow.
Right? Did you see that one?
I did not, but
I saved it.
Right. It resonates though.
And then he said depression, he said his teacher taught him that depression is really like two words, deep rest. It's like your body needs to rest. It needs a deep rest, depression, right? Depression, deep rest from that character that you created that's not authentic to who you really are. I was like, dang, right?
Yeah, and if you even think about depressed, because what we end up doing is pressing in a way, right? That part of us down, right? So depression, unpressed,
right?
The
deep pressure.
The deep pressure of that.
Pretty deep. No pun intended. But really,
pun intended.
But wait.
Right.
But wait, it gets worse.
Hey, don't let me. I'm about to start rapping. I'm dying this Thursday.
That's what old school. Y'all don't know about that. What group was that? It's a hip hop group. Y'all don't know. But wait, it gets worse. If you can guess, put it in the comments. We got something special for you.
We got something coming for you. For sure. It's this whole notion of weakness and really identifying a couple of things, like what is this perceived weakness trying to reveal to me about who I really am? Right, about who I really am and what I need. Right? What I need, who I really am and what I need. And I think both questions can help answer one another, because in the realizing of what you really need, you're getting clearer about who you really are and vice versa. But the importance of seeing weaknesses, or that idea of weaknesses, for what it really is. And then I was going to say something when you were talking about you mentioned something earlier. One of the reasons why we're so adamant about pointing out our partner's weaknesses is because in doing so we protect ourselves.
True.
So we think.
Okay,
So,
unpack that, babe. Unpack that.
Yeah, because if I can identify a weakness in you, then that means that I don't have to take the risk of being vulnerable. Because in identifying that weakness, I'm then like, okay, I see that, don't like that. Let me protect myself from that.
Okay.
Right? Let me protect myself from that. Let me shield myself from whatever hurt, pain, this particular perceived weakness could cause.
Right. And it's like, I saw that in you, so I'm right. This is confirming what I thought.
That
this
I can't trust you.
Out.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so now you have given your mind an excuse.
Yes, an excuse. A reason.
A valid reason that you think.
Right.
To not fully expose your heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
For protection.
For
Once
protection.
Again, fear.
For protection. That's
Fear.
what you were speaking about, fear.
Yeah.
And that was
Forget
where I wanted
everything
to
and
add
run.
to that. Yeah.
False evidence appearing real.
Right. And
Damn.
what ends up happening is that protection then becomes our prison. Right?
Exactly.
Because then we're so used to securing our heart in that way.
Yeah.
And hardening our heart really is what we're doing as a result. And so then we don't know how to let love flow freely. And in the not knowing how to let it flow, we also then don't know how to receive it, right? And with love being one of the highest, if not the highest vibration, what kind of life is that to live?
A prison.
Yeah.
It's a life of prison.
Yeah.
A prisoner.
Yeah. It's exactly that.
Yeah. And then and it's like it can be safe. Right? But like that ain't why you came to planet Earth, to be safe. You ain't coming to this ghetto to be safe.
Not this ghetto.
This Earth ghetto. You didn't come to get to the ghetto to be safe, right? We came to grow and evolve. We came to grow and evolve, and the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we step into courage, right? Even in the face of fear, stepping into courage.
Yeah, which means heart in French, by the way. Cœur meaning heart.
Curry.
Yeah, isn't that something?
That's probably why you like curry so much.
Why I don't like it that much.
I'm a dork. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, I like that. I forgot about that. Courage.
Courage.
Yes. And it means what?
Heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have the heart. Courage. Yeah.
Having the courage and having the courage to love.
Because that takes courage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. It takes courage, especially when you've been hurt. You know?
Especially. Yeah.
And especially when you've been hurt and you haven't quite recovered, healed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you keep, and now you, that's your frequency, is just like this hurt love.
Yeah.
And
Fearful love.
Yeah, that fearful love. And now you're attracting these fearful love situations, relationships.
Yeah.
And it's all based on what you are. Like we always say, like, you don't get what you want, you get what you are.
Yeah.
You know, and really we know that on a higher level what you are is a fractal of God, divine love. But what you are from your perception as a human, like, you know, hurt people, you know, heal people. And whatever you are, like, you know, thinking and feeling, you attract those things, those situations. And so you just keep confirming that belief and that feeling that you have until you get sick and tired of it. And that's why a lot of people have to hit rock bottom.
Yes.
Because that's the only thing that kind of like breaks you from that mold.
It cracks the shell. It cracks the shell.
And cracks the shut out you.
Yeah.
You know. So woo! Universe got a loving way to love us, don't they?
I mean, the universe is always loving us.
It is.
Though.
It really is.
It's the blocking of that love, that we tend to do by buying into beliefs that don't serve us, or holding on to emotions that weigh us down. I mean, do you know that you can literally just ask yourself, am I willing to let go of this emotion? And if the answer is yes, then you ask yourself when. And just in the saying right now, in that moment, you let that emotion go, right? That comes from the Sedona method by Michael Singer. However, because we think we have to hold on to those beliefs, hold on to those emotions as a way of protecting ourselves, we're blocking ourselves from the natural flow of love. And the energy that the universe is trying to flow through us, which is that love, right? All because we're afraid. And the funny thing is, the interesting thing is, when you allow that energy to flow, you realize there's nothing to fear.
Yeah.
You realize there's nothing to fear because the feeling you get when you allow that energy to flow, it is unmatched by anything that you have ever experienced on the emotional level, right? It's ineffable, right? But because we're constantly blocking that flow, we're creating exactly what we're afraid of, and we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to feel that infinite unconditional love.
Yeah.
It's sad.
And it's a lyric in a song. I don't know what it is, but I remember hearing it, and they said, "Nothing breaks like a heart." You know what I'm saying? Good Lord. Sometimes that heart gotta be cracked open. Oh, what's that other one that they say? About the cracking of the heart, the breaking of the heart. Sometimes, like, you got to keep breaking your heart until something. You remember that quote? You got to keep breaking your heart until it opens. I think. Yeah.
I mean, that resonates.
It's pretty deep,
for
man.
Sure. Absolutely.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, like, even in that heartbreak, that is just a way to get you closer to opening up, hopefully. Right? Once you shift your perspective about it. And that's when we gotta, like, take ownership and stop playing the victim all the time. Right? And owning that thing that you fear and moving closer to it, because when you move closer to fear, that gets you closer to love. On the other side of fear is love.
Is love.
Yeah. Literally, spiritually,
energetically, consciously.
On the other side of fear is love. And at least you know that in that relationship that you gave it your all. You gave it your all, and you didn't hold back. You loved fully and were present. And even if it didn't work out, you still gave it your all, and I'm sure you learned a lot about yourself,
so much,
and the other person. And that's a blessing right there. Every relationship isn't meant to be forever.
It is.
People come into our lives, like they say, for a certain reason, season, or lifetime. And sometimes it's all three, and sometimes it's one of the three, two of the three. But
sometimes they just trash. Just kidding.
But still, it's like, why did we attract that?
Why did we attract the trash?
Why did we attract the trash?
When you were talking about, like, heartbreak, and the heart needing to break, I thought about, like, what if we change our perception of heartbreak and saw it as a way to allow love to flow through it. Because it's not until we're usually at the lowest of the low that we seek something greater.
Yes.
Right? And so that heartbreak, just like the cracking of the ego shell, that ego mask, what it allows for is the light to come through, right? So in that heartbreak, there's always an opportunity for you to experience true love, right? Wow.
Which you may not have
love.
experienced.
Which you may not have experienced, and
Until
not
that
even
heartbreak.
until that heartbreak, and not even true love in the sense of from another or to another, but the true love of self, and the realization of the love that is flowing to you and through you from the divine.
Absolutely.
Right?
The greatest love of all.
The great. Just okay. You make me sick. You make me sick. Let me channel my Whitney without your side eye.
Without my Bobby.
Oh no, Bobby was in Whitney's corner. Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
no, but your Bobby, that was not Bobby. That was shade. Okay. Anywho, yeah, seeing heartbreak as an opportunity for you to really get closer to true love, unconditional love, love without condition, the condition of someone having to be there, or the condition of someone having to be different, or the condition of someone having to, improve their perceived weaknesses, right? I mean, because when you think about seeing your partner in their fullness, even if you have a perception of them being flawed, like, because that is a perception, that's what unconditional love actually, that's what it is.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Because, and also, learning to when you observe and you see things like that, when you think that is a flaw, and then you ask yourself, how does God view my partner? Not like me. You know what I'm saying? And because God ain't gonna look at any of this as a flaw.
Absolutely not.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you look at it from the lens of God,
Your God's self.
God's self,
Yeah. Higher self.
higher self,
Yeah.
right? How would you then look at it? And that brings you right back onto reality.
It
like,
does.
Yeah,
Because God knows all is well.
yeah, all is well.
All is well. There's nothing, serious going to use an Abraham code. Nothing serious going on here. It really is our perceptions, the positions that we hold, and thanks to the ego mind, right? That makes it so. That makes us think that something is wrong. Even the duality of right wrong is a position, right? Is a perception, right?
Yeah.
Because what I think is right, you that's usually what arguments are about, right? Like I'm right, you're wrong, right? And as long as we're on those opposing ends, then there's no way to get back to love. Right?
Yeah.
Which is why I often ask myself, do I want to be right or do I want to be loved and loved?
Yeah.
Right? Because whenever, we're caught up in that right wrong, there's little to no opportunity until someone decides that they want to put the ego aside.
Yeah.
Right? And hopefully both parties do at some point. Right? To get back to love.
Let's get back to love, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Let's all put the ego away.
Yeah.
Give the ego some love.
Love it.
Right, and let's get back. Let's get back. Not to get so caught up in the ego.
Yeah.
And so those
all of that is ego.
All of it is ego.
Right, wrong.
It is, man.
It is. And God knows all is well. We're all growing, evolving, all contributing, to that evolutionary process, by doing our work. And even in these relationships, having conflict which births our expansion and the expansion of the collective consciousness as a result. I mean, all of that is for the greater good.
For the greater good. And so, like you were explaining, the perceived limitation.
Yes. Yeah.
When you were young, and I have similar experience where when I was younger, and I think I recognized it earlier in my life, that because my sensitivity as well. So I was like very sensitive. You know, I cry easily, you know what I'm saying? And so that was perceived as a weakness, because it's like, you know, you just gonna cry at the drop of a pen, you know what I'm saying? And then but it also, as a middle child, it prevented me from getting yelled and beat the most because you knew that all you had to do was say something to me and I was gonna cry. You know what I'm saying? And so, but that could be taken as a weakness. But I think, and it's a blessing, you know, in retrospect, I think because I am an artist as far as music, right?
And being able to.
Right, but
yes,
more specifically, you know,
at the time.
Music at the time. Well, and then at that time, it didn't even transcend into music. It was poetry, right? So when I had got into writing, very young age, because I was a little geek when I was young, used to read all these books, and I think, you know, that kind of sparked me to write. So I used to write poetry, and this was probably like, you know, 10, 11, 12, around that age. And I would I noticed that when I would write poetry, I would be pulling out these emotions that I felt. And every time that I would write something and I would cry, when I would write it, I would be like, oh, this is going to be good, right? Because I knew that when other people read it, and at that time I wasn't even sharing my work, but I knew that I had did something great there. And eventually when I started to share, right, and I started to write rhymes to, you know, because I wanted to rap, and I would put that feeling, that emotion that I felt, that I wasn't really good at speaking about, and still to this day, that's still something that I'm working on, being able to talk about it or speak about it, express my feeling not in a song. It's easier for me to express it in a song. So I knew that when people listened to it, they automatically felt it, right? Because I noticed that everyone that felt it is because they resonated with it, you know? And I feel like that's why music is universal. That's why music is so healing.
Yeah.
Because you can, the artist puts so much emotion into it. And some of the best songs, heart into it. Some of the best songs are when that artist really just is so transparent. And you like, damn, I be feeling like that too.
Listen.
You know? And that be your favorite song.
Yeah.
It puts you in a certain space.
Yeah.
And because it's so transparent and it's like so relatable.
Sure.
So I knew that was a thing. I knew that was a good thing. And that was how I was able to take something that could be perceived as a weakness and then use it as a superpower. You know what I'm saying? Because I noticed that was a connection that we all had.
Yes, so good.
Everyone,
Good.
you know?
So good.
So that's why we can't take arts out to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't do these things and just be so, what they call it, intellectual all the time.
All in the logic,
you know?
and the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we need the arts. And, you know, for me, it was through music and writing. And for other people, you know, it could be
dance,
photography,
cooking.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
holy culture, you know, plants and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. All of that. And because, even with horticulture.
Horticulture.
Yeah.
The holy culture. Because it is holy.
Holy culture.
It's holy.
Yeah,
you know?
it is.
Working with plants and come on.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I'm learning more and more about, you know, how we just all connect in those ways. And that transparency keeps us alive, keeps us living, keeps us organic, you know, keeps us authentic.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, it's recognizing, like namaste. The God in me recognizes the God in you. And that's what makes it real.
That's what makes it real.
That's what makes it real. Like, that's what really makes it real. And in a relationship, that's what you want.
Yeah, because you feel that.
Yeah.
You feel
Right.
that.
Right. Having an intellectual debate without expressing your feelings and your emotions is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Because when you walk away,
Yeah.
it's still there.
It's still there.
The feeling is still there. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like a fake apology in a way.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? You just
It is.
apologizing
Yeah.
for the sake of apologizing. But you haven't empathized,
Yeah.
right? And you haven't had that heart to heart.
Yeah, the reciprocal exchange of that energy, that
Yes.
healing energy
Yes.
that removes those blocks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Yeah.
until, and I'm sure we've all, I know we relate to this in a relationship, after an argument.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have that real heart to heart,
Yeah.
like
Still
really
feels
the
heavy.
transparency of it, like what was really bothering you, what
Yeah.
really hurt you. If you only talk about the intellectual part
Yeah.
of it, but you don't reveal
Yeah.
how the feeling made you feel and where that came from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Afraid,
saying?
Scared, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right. You're just staying in this whole intellectual mode.
Which
like
is a defense mechanism.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
for protection, fear, once again. And when you don't really have that heart to heart after that whole conversation, like the day is not the same. It's hard to go back to that lovey stage because it's still this icky feeling in the air. It's like, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want to be bothered.
Right.
You don't want to be talk. Like you can't really even get back to the great
Yeah, you can't-
conversations
can't get
and
back to
the
love.
fun. You can't get back to love
Yeah.
without expressing.
Without expressing
The love.
emotions, without expressing the love.
Yeah.
And you're more likely to find yourselves having the same arguments.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Having the same arguments or bringing the same, I'll say the same level of energy to the arguments
Yeah.
that you have.
Yeah.
That resistant, blocked, I want to be right kind of energy. And when that's happening, because all relationships go through one way that is called is one thing is called the power struggle phase, right? And that usually is a phase in a relationship where if you aren't able to work through those energetic blocks, right, or politically correct term would be conflict resolution, right, when it's really those energetic blocks, then the relationship is more likely to fall apart because problems keep surfacing because what's beneath the surface, which is the need for that energy, that energetic exchange of love and understanding, because that's not happening, the relationship itself can't grow.
It can't grow.
Yeah.
It won't grow.
It won't, it won't grow.
It won't grow.
Right, because she's so cute. I love when she does that voice. Because that energy needs to flow. It is the flow of that life force energy that creates more life.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
So if that energy isn't flowing, your relationship is dead.
Yeah. Just like plants.
Yeah.
If you don't give the love and the energy to plants, right? Because I don't know if you guys know, but there's plenty of studies, especially Dr. Yokimoto with the water experiments.
Yeah.
There's plenty of studies that show that plants, when you talk to plants and you give them loving words, and you show love to plants, the plants that receive the most love grow.
Yeah.
They grow stronger.
Yeah.
And they just grow more abundantly.
Yeah.
As opposed to the plant that you might just water. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of makes me think of in the ancient practices of pouring libations. That's what just popped in my head.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm supposed to talk about
Talk
this.
about that, because
But so like the act and the practice of pouring libations, when we would pour that water and we would call out their ancestors' name, that's an act of love. And then you're using water, right, which is very abundant upon this planet Earth. What is it? 70-80%
water
of the planet is water.
And
70,
the most
80.
malleable, is that the term, of elements, right?
Yeah.
It could take four forms.
Right.
Yeah.
So from regular running water.
Yeah.
To what?
To ice.
To ice.
Yeah.
To
snow.
Snow.
Well,
Yeah.
and even
Vapor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because water is in the air.
Yeah, right.
Right. And you can actually extract water from the air
Exactly.
from a certain process.
Exactly.
Right. So gas,
Yeah.
gas, liquid. Yeah. So y'all know what I'm talking about. Are we being noble gases?
Water isn't a noble gas.
Water is not. But I am. Right? But our bodies are 70, 80% water. You know what I'm saying? And water holds emotion. You know, and our bodies hold emotion. The planet Earth holds emotion, you know. And so when we pouring those libations and calling out our ancestors' name, that's an act of love, using one of the most powerful forms of energy on planet Earth.
Yeah, powerful.
And it's the same thing with your relationships.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right? Yeah. Pouring the love into your relationships. And that's not just your intimate romantic relationships, but all relationships.
Sure.
You know?
Sure.
The time, giving your time, your attention, your presence.
Yeah, speaking life into your relationships.
Yes, right. You can pour libations for your relationships. Right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's interesting because, you know, I remember one of the earlier conversations we had about you being sensitive or emotional. I said that was one of the things I loved the most about you.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Right?
I want to bite your face.
Right, it was one of the things I told baby, that's one of the things I love the most about you, and I know that thing about you is what contributes to your creativity and your artistry and you know, just who you are, the being that you are. And so that was me speaking life into you, right? And then hearing you say now that you're working on seeing that as a strength, and you even as a young child you recognize it to some level that it was a strength, right? Yeah. But realizing that even more so now,
definitely,
right?
Yeah.
What if I would have been like, girl,
yeah.
You know, but what if I would have seen that as a weakness, and would have been like, you got to get your emotions in check, right? Because all that would have been was it would have been a reflection of the healing that I still needed to do around me being sensitive and emotional, right? So as it was a result of the work that I was doing and am doing to embrace all parts of me, including that part, I was able to recognize that in you and speak life to it and love you in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're making me cry.
Oh. It's okay.
You see? Always crying and shit.
It's all right.
But no, I appreciate that because
yeah.
I've had other experiences.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. From people who were obviously shut off from their emotions.
Yeah. Because it and all that does when you highlight something that you perceive as a weakness in a partner and you bash it or give some type of negativity to, all that does is shut your partner down and makes them not even want to go there. For me in this instance, it makes you not want to be vulnerable in that way, or like where you're holding back your tears because it's like, or you don't want the person to feel like or to think negative about you that you're so sensitive. So now you're holding back your sensitivity and suppressing your emotions for fear of judgment from your partner. So then you're not being authentic. You're not being who God made you to be. And then you could end up like Jim Carrey was saying, in that deep suppression, deep you know, when your body is saying "fuck you,"
Yeah.
I need a rest from this character that you done created.
Right, tired.
Now you're depressed.
Yeah,
you know, or whatever else comes from that. So
Yeah.
that's deep, man. We went there.
No, seriously.
I didn't know all this was gonna come out.
I know, and I want to add something too. You know, there's this reluctance or aversion that we have to crying.
Yeah.
Right? When water nourishes, water cleanses, water
Yes.
grows, right? And if you really think about it. Like when you cry, the release, and the healing that happens when you allow those tears to flow.
Ooh, when you have that gut wrenching cry, you just let it out.
Yeah.
Good Lord, you feel so much better.
You feel so much better. But many of us have, heard, stop that crying.
Yeah.
Stop that crying, right? Because
what you crying about now?
What you crying about now, right?
Heard
We've
that
talked
a lot.
about that, right? And it's because the people who were caring for us the best way they knew how, they too did not know how to deal with their emotions. So they could not deal with yours. And so then we create, because the way the mind works, this association between crying and punishment, crying and weakness, crying and judgment, right? And so then when we feel that energy wanting to release, because when you cry, you're healing, you're mourning, you're grieving parts of yourself that need to be healed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the suppression of that, we're not allowing ourselves to grow. We're not giving ourselves the space, the environment, the condition that we need, the conditions that we need to grow. And so if your partner is trying to stop you from expressing your emotions, in essence, they don't want you to grow.
It's fearful.
It's fearful. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is if you're expressing them.
And that's not conscious,
healthy.
though. I'm saying that's not a conscious, maybe not a conscious
that's true.
awareness of that. But that's what's underlining that block,
Absolutely.
that suppression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like everybody, like I feel like we all know that it can be quite uncomfortable to be in the presence of someone who's crying. Because it's like, shit, what do I do?
What do I do? Yeah.
What should I do?
Yeah.
Should I say something? Should I not?
Yeah.
Should I address it?
Yeah.
Should I go there?
Yeah.
Because if I go there, then I might have to be.
Then
vulnerable.
I might have to go there.
Right.
Then
and
I
it's
have
like,
to go
oh
there.
hell no.
Right. Because you're going there. I'm gonna have to go there. And I don't want to go there, so we ain't going there.
Because I think for most people, I know for me, but I feel like most people relate to this. I think it's very hard to see someone cry and not cry.
Yeah.
Too. I know I do.
Hard. Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a truth, but it could be just because I'm so sensitive,
Well,
and I know you're sensitive too.
Yeah.
So I know we both speak from that same perspective.
We
but
do.
I'm wondering,
We do.
if that's a thing for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, if you really are willing to allow your heart to open, it could be hard to not cry when somebody else cries. I mean, even as a therapist, right? I sit in front of people processing, feeling through, healing through pain and suffering almost every single day. And one of the things I remember hearing is that, you're not supposed to cry with your clients. How? How can I not?
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't make me any less of a therapist, because to me that is true empathy. If I can sit with you in your tears, in your pain, in your hurt, and reflect that back to you. First of all, that's the way we connect with each other when we're mirroring each other,
and
right?
that's healing.
And that's healing. Then what is it with the aversion to that? But I will say that I went to a very Eurocentric school for my master's degree, so let's provide the context, right? When we think about even indigenous practices, right? The crying, the wailing that we would do openly as a people, the ceremonial aspect of the ritualistic aspect of that release, how that was necessary and honored,
and
right?
honored.
Because of what it really meant on a spiritual level.
And that's not just with pain, but also with joy.
With joy. Exactly. Exactly.
Crying tears of joy.
Exactly.
That is, it just comes out as water. I mean, we 80% water.
Yeah. It's how we heal. It's how we grow. And it really is how we love.
It's how we love.
It is. It is. It
Yeah,
is.
totally.
Yeah.
That was good, man.
Yeah, this has been great.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
anything else to add?
I mean, just love each other, love yourself, you know,
Yes.
because that's key to being able to see your partner's divinity, you know, their God self. You know, you have to be able to see your God self, right?
Download. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
you got to be able to see your God self. So love self first. Embrace your perceived weaknesses, really your superpowers, right? So that embrace them, so that you can also see the God and the divine in the people that you love and come in contact with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you see your partner today, make sure you, like, because they have such a loving face, you want to make sure you take a bite of their cheekies so you can get some of that love. But my dad, I think we're a little crazy. We be biting each other's faces and stuff. Like, people probably think we crazy. And say,
Can how you love also be how you roll? What you mean by that, Steve?
yeah. Expound,
Please,
Steve.
'cause we
So
wanna
I don't
answer
know.
your question.
Like, what? Roll a blunt?
Because yes, it could be. You take your time.
Right, put that love in it. That's gonna be a love blunt. Got that love weed. If the horticulturist tended to that plant with love,
It's a different kind of bud. That's a different kind of bud.
Yeah, right, but
expound on that.
expound
Yeah.
upon that. But oh, but I was gonna say, I think that as love hers, 808. I think we should plan an event. And if you're down with the event, drop love in the comments. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
We are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
So subscribe, please. But I think that we should plan a Love Hers event
Okay.
where we do random acts of love.
Oh, yeah.
You know how we talked about this before?
Yes.
We can do random acts of love. We just all get together and come up with some ideas. I have a few. Well, we do random acts of love to just random strangers.
You like buy someone's groceries.
Yes, exactly. You know,
I love it.
and even
Put gas
just
in someone's car. Yeah.
put gas in someone's car, and even just compliments. You know, when we just compliment someone walking by.
Yeah.
You know,
Aw.
when we smile at someone.
This
You know what I'm
little
saying?
cutie. Look at this little cutie, all loving and sensitive and whatnot, wanting to help humanity, love on humanity.
But you know,
Gotta
because
get you
humanity
one.
needs more love. We need to see it more. I feel like. What you say? Yeah, can love be good form of behavior? I'm sure it can be. Absolutely.
Yeah, love.
Yeah, right? Just
Love
what, just what I was talking about, the random acts of love.
Absolutely.
Showing love to people, because you don't know, like, sometimes that one thing that you said to that one stranger that you'll never see again, that one act of kindness, or that compliment that you gave,
Yeah.
you could have prevented someone from committing suicide.
Yeah, you don't even know the
You don't
impact
even know
you can
the
have.
impact.
Yeah.
I know how good it feels for me.
Yeah.
When you know, when someone random and they're not trying to get nothing from you, they
Yeah,
just
there's no
randomly
attachment
give
to-
you a
yeah.
compliment. And you're like, oh, that felt good. It make you want to do the same to somebody else.
It's infectious. It's
Right,
infectious.
right.
Yeah. And
Smiling,
Yeah.
looking at people in their eyes.
Yes. Yeah.
You know that's a thing. I know. I've been noticing.
Yeah.
That a lot of people don't want to look in your eyes
Because we're poorly socialized. I mean, that's part of it, but it's also the fear
And
of
it's fear.
intimacy.
The
Because
fear of intimacy.
yeah, I like to say that intimacy is into me see.
Yes,
Right? In order for me to
yes.
see you, I need to look at you.
Look
right?
into you.
Look into you.
Yes.
Right? And for a lot of
Right.
people, that is uncomfortable. Almost
Yeah.
as uncomfortable as being with someone in their pain.
their pain.
Right? Because there's
Yeah.
a vulnerability that comes with that. You know? And to further answer Steve's question, love is an action. Right? Love is an
is.
action, and not just on the surface or in terms of the overt behavior that we can see, but opening your heart to someone. That's an action, right?
That's the greatest action. I feel like.
Yeah.
It's the greatest action.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. So yes, love can be the way that you roll, because if you're operating from the place of realizing you're a being of love and a being of light, that's going to shape the way that you, and influence the way that you show up in the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For sure.
So,
All right.
thank y'all for
Thank
joining
you.
us.
I don't wanna come down. I don't wanna come down. I don't wanna come.
So just chill to the next episode.